Is this the most daring move of the Houston Texans, or is Demeco Ryans playing a dangerous game with the future of this franchise? The atmosphere in Houston is electric, but beneath the excitement of a potential postseason run, there are questions that need answering immediately. We are standing at a crossroads, and what happens next could change everything for the city of Houston. But before we dive into this massive roster update that has everyone talking, I have a very special request for you. Please, comment the city you are watching from right now. I want to know where the Texans Nation is loudest. Also, if you haven't already, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. We are dedicated to bringing you the most explosive NFL news every single day, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Now, let's get into the heart of the storm. The Houston Texans are currently finalizing their preparations for the regular season finale against the Indianapolis Colts. This isn't just another game. This is a battle for momentum, a test of depth, and a glimpse into the tactical mind of Demeco Ryans. The big story today involves veteran Leki Fotu, a man who has suddenly become the primary beneficiary of a defensive line in flux. While the starters are expected to play, Ryans has made it clear that health takes precedence. Imagine the stakes. You have a chance to secure your spot, but one wrong move, one injury to a key starter, and the Super Bowl dreams of an entire city could evaporate in an instant. This is why the elevation of Leki Fotu is so significant. Fotu, a massive human being who has spent time with the Raiders, Cardinals, and Jets, was brought onto the practice squad back on December 23rd. It felt like a depth move at the time, a just-in-case signing. But after his debut against the Los Angeles Chargers, where he recorded 2 tackles in just 14 snaps, the coaching staff saw something they liked. They saw a player who could bridge the gap. Looking at Fotu's history, he has always been a space eater. Over the last 3 seasons, his statistics might not jump off the page in terms of sacks, but his ability to demand double teams is legendary. In 2021 with the Cardinals, he was a pivotal part of their run defense, showing a raw power that few interior offensive linemen could handle. When you compare him to Texans legends of the past, players like J.J. Watt or even Vince Wilfork, Fotu brings that specific brand of physicality that Ryans craves. The Texans' defensive front has undergone a radical transformation mid-season. We have to talk about the why behind this. This wasn't a planned evolution. It was a response to disaster. The loss of Tim Settle Jr. and backup Mario Edwards Jr. to season-ending injuries sent shockwaves through the facility. Settle was supposed to be the anchor, the veteran presence that allowed the younger linebackers to roam free. When he went down, the strategy changed from refinement to survival. This is where Nick Caserio and Demeco Ryans showed their brilliance, or their desperation depending on who you ask. They didn't just look for bodies, they looked for specific traits. Naquan Jones and Leki Fotu are the results of that search. The fan sentiment on platforms like Reddit and Twitter has been a mix of anxiety and cautious optimism. Fans are questioning if a practice squad elevation can really hold the line against a physical Colts rushing attack. Some are calling it a masterstroke by Ryans, while others fear the interior is too soft. Historical data suggests that teams who shuffle their defensive line late in the season often struggle with gap discipline. However, Ryans is a defensive mastermind. He isn't just throwing players at the problem, he is building a wall. The context of this finale against the Colts cannot be overstated. The Colts are a team that lives and breathes through their ground game. If the Texans can't stop the run, their postseason will be very short. That is why Leki Fotu is the name on everyone's lips today. He represents the final piece of the puzzle for a defense that has been surprisingly resilient all year. We also have to acknowledge the elevation of safety Kayvon Merriweather. Here is a player who entered the league as an undrafted free agent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has 12 games of experience this year, but he hasn't seen the field for Houston yet. Why now? Why the final game? It suggests that the Texans are looking for a spark, a special teams demon, or perhaps they are resting their primary safeties more than they are letting on. The intrigue is building and the pressure is mounting. Houston is not just playing for a win, they are playing for their identity. As we look at the historical comparisons, the 2011 Texans defense comes to mind, a unit that had to overcome significant hurdles to prove they belonged. This current squad feels similar. They are underdogs who have fought their way into the conversation, but can they finish the job? The decision to elevate Fotu for the 2nd week in a row, as reported by Aaron Wilson, shows a level of trust that is rare for a practice squad player. This is a clear signal that the coaching staff believes he is ready for the big stage. As we move into the deeper analysis, we have to look at what this means for the salary cap and the future recruitment of defensive tackles. The Texans are becoming a destination. Former tackle Seth Payne even said players should be lining up at Demeco's door. That is the kind of culture Ryans has built in record time.
But culture doesn't win games, execution does. And on Sunday, all eyes will be on the big men in the middle to see if they can hold the line and propel this team into the history books.
Now, let's dive into the deep end of this roster strategy and what it reveals about the Texans' long-term vision. We have to talk about the financial implications and the sheer tactical genius, or gamble, of this retooling on the fly. The Texans' defensive tackle room is currently a revolving door, and while that sounds chaotic, it might actually be a calculated recruiting tool for the upcoming free agency. Think about it. When a coach like Demeco Ryans shows he can take a veteran like Leki Fotu from the practice squad and turn him into a key contributor in a playoff-caliber defense, every defensive lineman in the league takes notice. Seth Payne's comments on X weren't just hyperbole. They were a reflection of the league's growing respect for the Ryans effect. Financially, the Texans are in a fascinating position. By utilizing practice squad elevations for players like Fotu and Merriweather, they are preserving cap space while getting a live-action audition for next year's roster. If Fotu performs well in these high-stakes moments, he could find himself signing a multi-year deal this spring. Looking at the last 3 seasons, interior defensive linemen with his profile, run stuffers who can play 15 to 20 high-quality snaps, are fetching anywhere from $4 to $7 million a year on the open market. The Texans are essentially getting a free look at a valuable asset. But let's look at the darker side of the news, the injury report. The announcement regarding Ajani Carter and Darrell Taylor is a massive blow to the team's depth. Both were on injured reserve but have resumed practicing, giving fans hope for a late-season boost. However, the Texans' PR officially downgraded them to out for Week 18. Hamstring and ankle injuries are notorious for lingering, and the decision not to activate them suggests the medical staff is worried about a long-term setback. If the Texans make a deep run, will these players be ready, or have we seen the last of them in 2024? This creates a massive hole in the rotation. Darrell Taylor's absence, in particular, puts an immense amount of pressure on the starting edges to remain healthy and productive. If there is a silver lining, it's that the Texans have navigated most of the season without them, proving their next man up mentality isn't just a cliche. Now we must turn our attention to the opposition. The Indianapolis Colts are making their own desperate moves. They've elevated quarterback Seth Hennigan and tight end Sean McEwen. Hennigan is an undrafted rookie who hasn't thrown a single pass in a regular season game. Why does this matter to the Texans? Because it signals that the Colts are preparing for a potential disaster scenario at quarterback. With Anthony Richardson already on IR and Riley Leonard struggling with efficiency, boasting a 54.5% completion rate and 0 touchdowns, the Texans' defense should be licking their chops. This is a game where Leki Fotu and the defensive front must dominate. They need to make Leonard's life a living hell. If the Texans can shut down the run and force a rookie who is already struggling into obvious passing situations, this game could be over by halftime. However, the NFL is never that simple. The Colts are desperate, and a desperate team is a dangerous team. The tactical analysis here suggests that Ryans will use a heavy rotation to keep his big men fresh. Expect to see Fotu in specific short yardage and goal line packages where his 300-plus pound frame can truly shine. Rumors are already swirling around Houston about potential playoff targets if the Texans move past the first round. Names are being whispered in the corridors of Energy Stadium, but for now, the focus is 100% on the Colts. The fans on social media are already predicting a blowout, but the veterans in the locker room know better. They remember the historical battles between these two AFC South rivals. Every game is a dogfight. As we conclude this massive update, the question remains, is this the roster that takes Houston to the promised land? The Texans are a team built on resilience, grit, and the vision of a head coach who knows what it takes to win at the highest level. The addition of Fotu and Merriweather might seem like small moves on paper, but in the grand theater of the NFL, it's the small moves that often decide the biggest games. The Texans are hoping for an extended run that ends in a Super Bowl victory, and every decision made this week was a step toward that goal. Make sure you stay locked in here for all the updates as this story develops. Will Leki Fotu be the hero Houston needs? Will the injuries to Carter and Taylor haunt them in the playoffs? We will find out very soon. Don't forget to comment your city, like this video, and subscribe so you never miss a beat of this incredible Texans season. The road to the Super Bowl goes through the trenches, and the Texans are ready for war. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Texans.